Shen just putting on a clinic on how to play that top laner. SuperMassive are on the blue side, Mad Lions on the red. The winner of this game locks themselves into knockouts. They are guaranteed at least 4th, because INTZ, of course, have already lost 3 games in this group. They could only win 1 more. Renekton banned, Akali banned, Pantheon taken away by Mad Lions.
All right, so I think the big question on a lot of people's minds is Shadow. What's going on with him? What are the changes he's going to make? Yesterday, we saw 2 performances on the Evelynn that did leave a bit to be desired. I know Amazing was very vocal on the desk. We want to see Shadow get back to the form that he found so much success on during the regular LEC split. On the likes of the Lee Sin, where he was able to have early game impact. And Brock just showed him yesterday, you can still play Lee Sin even in this meta and get your team ahead.
It's just, I mean, was the Lee Sin the reason that they got ahead in that game, Ender?
No!
Yeah. But you can still play Lee Sin in this meta and get ahead. That is true, and it's going to get banned away from him.
There you go.
So we can't play it in this game. Lilia, once again, seems to be working its way through pick and ban. Supermassive obviously played the Hecarim earlier today, and I don't think they played a huge amount of Lilia in their regular season. I'm just going to have a quick mosey to make sure that I'm correct in that. I am. They only played it once. Cacao only brought it out once, but he is very good at that sort of more farming style. The Nidalee, the Graves, Lilia kind of fits into that wheelhouse as well.
Yeah, and we actually saw earlier today, obviously Armut stole the spotlight with his Shen, you know, getting all those kills, solo kills, 1v4, 1v5 tower dives was very successful, but their draft was built around Cacao's Hecarim, you know, and now with the first pick Nidalee, it's a lot of focus on him again, making sure he can have a champion that's meant to outpace his opposition, get an early advantage in terms of jungle camps. And that is something that Shadow has the opportunity to match here with the likes of like the Graves, if you wanted to branch out a bit there, or the Hecarim even.
Could always go back to the Evelynn if you really wanted to. Perhaps show us today.
I intentionally didn't say Evelynn, Medic. I intentionally didn't say it.
I get you. I get you. Mad Lions going to go for the Twitch Rakan combo that we have seen work so well. Worked well against them yesterday from Tactical and Core JJ. And then was pretty good earlier on today as well.
All right, I mean, the Senna coming through, this is a backline already if I've ever seen one for Supermassive. I mean, the healing you get when you combine Senna plus Nidalee, and then Nidalee too, she gives attack speed with her heal, which works so well in conjunction with an Azir, the attack speed you can buff up on him. So they have a lot of backline staying back, kiting away, whereas now, with the Rakan on top of a Hecarim pick, Mad Lions want to take the fight to them and make sure they can reach Bolulu and Zaidma.
And that's what Kaiser has done so well through the regular season is and through the playoffs, was his ability to be proactive, to be the playmaker for the team, lead the charge. And we didn't see it as much yesterday as perhaps we usually would. So the Rakan gives him a little bit more freedom to do that. Love the Nautilus ban we saw already earlier today, how strong Nautilus can be into Rakan.
All right, I think for Supermassive, we want to look at like an Orianna ban here, something that works very nicely next to a Hecarim. But you could also try to take away, you know, solid top lane options. You know, the desk was talking about Armut versus Arome, and Arome has been a bit of a liability for them, especially in that game yesterday, up against Impact and Team Liquid. But the Orianna ban is a good one.
Yep, already going to get taken away from Humanoid, one of his most played this split. So no real surprises that that has been banned. Things like the Twisted Fate still available for him though. Also played a lot of Syndra, played some Galio. Like he's got sort of the traditional wheelhouse of mid laners right now. The Alistair getting taken away from the Snowflower. Usually it would be surprising, but Snowflower is such an incredible Alistair that it is not too much of a shock to me.
Yeah, Snowflare is a Snowflare, he's got a good Thresh too, you know, we'll give him credit where credit is due. That champion is still open for him, but he always performs internationally. Very excited to see this bot lane once again at another World Championship. And now with the Shen taken away, I do really like this because that was the other option, a very good blind pickable top lane that works so nicely with all 3 of the champions Mad Lions already have. I really like how Supermassive have approached this draft already.
Now Mad Lions have to try and work a way around it. Zoe's going to be locked here for Humanoid. Only played that once in summer, lost on it, but last year he was a big Zoe player, so it's not too much of a surprise. And now I wonder, with Mad Lions leaving their top lane counter for last pick, like how they're going to do this. Because usually Arome is weak side. Usually he plays things, you know, like the Ornn, something that he can just farm up on. And it feels like you could have probably picked Ornn here and still had the ability to then have a bit more strength in the mid lane, but you've already got the Azir locked, so you've already countering it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Zoe is a good answer here into the Azir specifically, and also when you see like a Nidalee in the jungle, like there's not a ton of hard engage options they can bring. Obviously they can pivot because they left support and top lane open. The Leona does come in as a champion, and now the Wukong here. I really like this, a bit of a pocket pick for Armut. Get him on something that is very powerful inside of the laning phase and try to bully around Arome a bit.
I love the Wukong. Of course, Mad Lion's very experienced with it. We have seen both Arome and Kaiser play it, and it looks like it's going to be the Mord. So the goal for Mordekaiser is, hey, Wukong, you want to jump into my team? Nope. You can only come into the Death Realm with me. You're not going to be able to get onto that back line at all. And we'll see if Arome is able to be effective with it throughout the course of the game. But having a look more just over general team compositions, as you said, like SuperMassive had this really nice long-range engage, but also kite ability in their comp, with the Senna healing, with the Nidalee healing, with the Azir soldiers, whereas Mad Lions do really seem to want to dive into that backline.
Yeah, I do feel like both teams have like an overarching strategy where it's like you have the dive, right, you immediately notice from Mad Lions, but they also do have some flexibility, right? As soon as Mad Lions put a Zoe into their draft, well, now you can actually slow things down a bit. Look for a poke, potentially, and get that poke damage down before you end up fully committing towards a fight, whereas early on, all we had was showing that strong backline for the side of SuperMassive, but they finished out with Wukong and Leona, which is meant to try and punish a Zoe when she R's forward and really find that attack and start the fight on their own terms.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to hit a solo flare if you know exactly where the enemy's going to be in a half a second's time when the Zoe jumps back, so looking forward to see how these two teams interact in team fights, because SuperMassive weren't really challenged in their first game of the day. They pretty much just swept away the opposition. Mad Lions yesterday did not show up to the same degree that I think a lot of European fans were expecting. And also, they didn't show up to the degree we saw them in the regular season. Like in playoffs, they struggled a little bit, but this was our best team in the LEC in the regular season, apart from Rogue, who topped them.
All the way up until the end, right?
Until, like, the last week.
Is the question we were trying to answer, and it does make sense, you know? This is a very young team, 4 brand new rookies. Karzi always playing games with the camera. You'll love to see that there, but this team only got, 14 stage games in spring before we ended up going online, so it is a bit of a different beast for these players. Try and adapt to and get comfortable in, and that's why the play-ins, these first 4 games, you must find your form early to stay involved in the tournament.
A win here makes sure you are in the knockout stages. Doesn't guarantee you your seed, but will lock you at least an opportunity in a best of 5 to make it through to groups. We have a team of 4 rookies and Humanoid against a team that has a lot of Worlds experience. Once again, Armut was here with Royal last year. They lost the clutch in the knockouts. Kakao was here with IG in 2015, all those years ago. Balulu was here with Fenerbahce in 2019 when he was at MSI. Zeitnot went to MSI 2017, 2018, Worlds 2018 as well. Snowflower was at MSI 2018 and Worlds 2018.
I'm scribbling notes down furiously, Medic, I've got it.
They played more games at Worlds than Mad Lions have on stage.
Can they convert it into a 2-0 start here? That's the question here for SuperMassive. I'm really curious to see how these comps end up interacting, because it can get really fun, especially in the team fights later on. But after the incredible performance we saw from Armut earlier in the day, he's now on the Wukong versus Mordekaiser, which we actually saw Mordekaiser as a very early counter pick into that Wukong. Of course, Wukong gets a lot of armor fighting long time with his passive. Mordekaiser going to be able to cut through that quite nicely, and I think with a Hecarim early on, you do have a little bit more options, because this Nidalee doesn't have a lot of CC to play around early on in the lane phase, which immediately reduces her really powerful gank option.
Yeah, that's why we usually see Nidalee teamed up with something like a Renekton who can stun for her in the top lane, someone that can lock people down so that when the spear comes in, it's a lot easier to land that damage. And Shadow switched over to a sweeper after getting an early ward down. He's warded his Razorbeaks, and at the moment it looks like Kakao is going for the invade.
Yeah, I really like this play coming through from them. He's going to start on the red buff with Q very likely. Yep, there it does go out, and now, because you actually notice Karzi and Kaiser are giving a leash over to Shadow, that means bot prio will be in favor of SuperMassive. So depending on how aggressive Kakao wants to get, he could try to potentially play to fight around Shadow early on.
All right, now he's just going to go and steal away these Razor Beaks. Shadow, relatively low from his first camp, didn't use his smite because he wants to try and get in and steal away this red, but he has been spotted on a ward.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like, Hecarim does get fairly low in the jungle. If he does Raptors, he's going to sustain a lot off of that, but this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, Kakao counter jungles the Raptors and now walks straight through mid lane because Bolulu, he's going to have push in here too, so I really like this early game plan, how you can exploit having this Nidalee versus the Hecarim early on and some strong early lanes.
Snowflower going for the early roam as well to make sure that if Shadow had been waiting in a bush, Kakao wouldn't be on his lonesome in the fight. In the bottom lane, as you say, Zeitnot and Snowflower have got the push early on, but Kazi and Kai'Sa have been pretty good at just farming themselves up underneath this tower.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting seeing the how the junglers are interacting early on. Of course, Kakao with his tenure, you know, finding ways to still influence these early matchups. But I feel like Mad Lions for a long time, like Shadow is known as this very aggressive jungler who would love to go for the invade, similar to how we just saw Kakao do that against them. And I think a lot of credit has to go to the Mad Lions staff that are very good at figuring out how enemy junglers think about the game and pathing around it accordingly, but unable to come up with an answer to that level 1 invade. And now Nidalee, we know these AP junglers, once they get ahead, they continue to get rolling here. When the Runic Echoes comes through, like, you're going to be looking to really sprint through your camps.
Looked like Armut was going for a cheat back in the top lane. Instead, he decides against it. Kakao could come up here, but he's got a lot of camps left available to him. So I wonder if he's just going to go for the topside Scuttle Crab, while Shadow actually might go for an invade on these Razor Beaks.
Wow, no, he's looking around for a mid lane gank potentially, but Bolulu just going to walk away. Humanoid got a redemption. He's like, it's time to fight!
It's done.
But no, it's not meant to be. It will just be that Raptor invade like you were talking about. Scuttle Crabs traded on opposite sides of the map too here for Kakao.
It's something we don't talk about too often, but just getting a redemption in lane as Zoe, it's like, okay, I won the RNG, the coin flip this time, you can't do anything, I get free push, I get free health, and you can take some of those fights. And you can see Humanoid using the fact that he got a free push on the lane to go back, get himself a Dark Seal, get himself some boots, and basically get a free cheetah recall.
Surprised to see Kakao running around the map so much, to be honest. You know, a little bit of time wasted, and now we'll pop out on top of Shadow. No camps to fight over necessarily here, and because Shadow was able to steal away those Raptors, it is just back, you know, pretty much dead even. Shadow just under that level 4 mark. Of course, I think Kakao was able to steal some from mid lane to make that breakpoint.
I wonder if Kakao thought perhaps he could fight over the bot side Scuttle, maybe thinking Shadow was there a little bit later than he was.
Yeah, I think it's a bit ambitious though, I would say, with like the actual timers of it spawning, because Shadow even snuck in an extra camp before clearing away the Scuttle Crab that Kakao didn't know about.
And Shadow now looking to get into the enemy jungle once again and steal something away.
Yeah, look at this. This is so good from Shadow. Like, it could be risky,
It's only good
though.
if it works, because Wukong's already moving from the top lane. Like, Armut could be on his way here pretty soon. Kakao's going to come in from the side. The smite is available for Shadow.
He knows that he's still here.
Here we go. Kakao's going to jump across the wall. Shadow looking for the smite. Gets it. Level 4 on both of them now. The devastating charge is going to knock Kakao back, and Kakao actually is going to go very low here. Shadow has popped the ghost. Balulu's coming in from the side here as well. No Emperor's Divide on him yet. Humanoid looking for the sleep. Can't quite land it. Does have the ignite. Humanoid deciding so far not to chuck that paddle stop. There was a flash in the mid lane as Balulu jumps back in. Snowflower now coming in from the bottom lane. But Balulu, very aggressive flash from him.
That was wild. I mean, Humanoid's rocking the heel, so he gets Shadow out of that one, no problem. But off of that invade, it is 2 flashes burnt Kakao just to stay alive. Shadow had popped his own ghost for the extra AD to try and win that 1 versus 1, because with the smite, he was able to reach that level 4 breakpoint. But Balulu losing his flash is really tragic, because now that level 6 play is going to be so much weaker if you look to play around the Emperor's Divide.
And he doesn't have cleanse or anything for the Drowsy, right? So if he gets caught out, there's no way to escape. He's now used his teleport. He has no flash for the next 4 minutes or so. It's going to be very, very hard for Balulu in the mid lane to survive if he ever gets caught out. But of course, Azir can stand that little bit further back with the soldiers and try and farm at range. Question is how much Mad Lions can utilize the fact that they have this advantage and actually take it and snowball something away with it.
Yeah, well, it was funny because I was like, Shadow, he didn't figure out a way to counter out the early pathing, but no, he did find that way, and that is good to see. But I don't think he'll be able to contest over the spot side Scuttle Crab, which is going to be a very good look for Kakao. The reset comes in first from Zeitnot and Snowflower, and you can use that early pressure. I especially love seeing it when we have these farming junglers, when you can actually get that first reset through, and your support is the first one back on the map. It gives you a lot of pressure. You can see they contest over the spot side Scuttle Crab, and Mad Lions cannot hope to match it. And it also transitions into more than just the Golden EXP there. There's now double control wards inside of the river, which gives a lot of safety to Balulu who, of course, flashless, needs that extra protection.
You can see Kaiser's working his way down towards that bot side river to see if there's anything for him to clear out, but Kakao is sneaking into the bot lane.
And look at the minion wave. It's set up. There's so many ranged minions. It's going to push away. Kaiser realizing this, needs to get back into bot side, but Shadow is nowhere near. They either lose so many minions and like don't actually step forward and risk it all, or we're going to be looking at some Summoners blown.
There is the Zenith Blade, there's the spear. Kaiser's going to jump away, dodges all the way back to safety, doesn't even have to burn a flash.
Well, that was a little bit early, I would say, from Supermassive trying to jump onto the Rakan. Very mobile champion right there, so jumped the gun just a tad early. And now Shadow, he's going to go back for those wolves. Like, he knows exactly when those are respawning, so that's actually really, really good news for the Mad Lions, who are in almost an impossible position in that bottom lane. They were not going to be able to push out that next wave. They were going to lose minions, and now they lose nothing.
And it's one of those things where Supermassive jumping the gun just that little bit allows so much more freedom to Mad Lions, because we saw yesterday against Team Liquid, Mad Lions overstepped. Mad Lions forced plays in the bot lane a few times too many, and Broxer was there and Team Liquid just turned it around. Tactical getting kills, flashing forward. Here, if Supermassive had just been that tiny bit more patient, that tiny bit more reserved, they could have perhaps caught Kazi stepping a bit too far instead of going for Kaiser.
Yeah, definitely. I was wondering how crazy Shadow was going to get with the blue buff respawning. He knows about it, playing around that top side. And see both mid laners, like neither mid laner actually has much mana, so fights can get really, really interesting. Shadow does have access to level 6, and Orome doesn't know this is coming.
Cyclone coming down, and Orome actually paths down towards Kakao, and that's first blood before Orome can react.
Yeah, and it's going on to Armut. We saw what happened with Shen, now he's on the Wukong.
Flash. He's going to try and get away, but there's the fear, and there's second kill of the game as Shadow takes down the Azir.
Yeah, really nicely done from both teams. Both junglers saw their windows, and they were able to attack. Orome did not see that one coming at all, but Zaytnot with a good roam will be in here in mid lane to pick up that bonus cannon before sprinting back down bot side, because there's going to be a wave coming in there too. So a little bit of min-maxing from the bot side. Big winner though is Supermassive with this Rift Herald coming off the back of the play.
That spear just go wide with the Rift Herald?
Look, Rift Herald's big, but can tuck in if needed.
Okay, good to know. Rift Herald dodging as much as it can. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, we said that Zaytnot was going to be able to get here to try and protect, but not really able to catch too many of these minions because Kaiser has the quickness, Kazi has the spray and pray. This is going to be a plate going over to the bot lane of Mad, and a slight CS lead. Zaytnot will be able to catch the final few minions underneath the tower. Let's have a look at where we are in terms of gold. And Mad Lions, 400 gold ahead, almost 10 minutes into this game. The Sheen complete on Shadow. Blade of the Ruin King on its way for Kazi, not quite done. On the other side, Balulu's gone for the Mercury Treads first. And in the top lane, Armut now, with that 1-kill lead, has the Tiamat and the Sheen.
Yeah, he'll be working on the Trinity Force as the go-to purchase for a lot of Wukong players. Also, still held onto his teleport. So after Orome died, he had to TP back topside. And since the Rift Herald was taken away, it's not like Mad Lions can do some fancy little swap maneuvers to escape from that disadvantage. So Supermassive do have a large window in which they can try to exploit that by playing around this Infernal. And Armut with access to ultimate, you want to set up some wards for him to enter with.
There's the sleep. Paddle Star not going to be popped by Humanoid. Didn't have the portal jump, so couldn't even jump forward to use it. Meanwhile, Kazi now just going to go down and farm in the bottom lane. And we do have an Infernal Drake on the map, and it's 10 minutes. Usually we see the first Dragon fall between about 7 and 10. Feels like both teams haven't really set up around it yet, but Supermassive are now trying to gain this river control.
Yeah, there's been a bit larger focus, especially for Mad Lions around the top side of the map with the Invade Shadow Maid. So it does make quite a bit of sense, but now that the level 6s have come through, like, it gets explosive for both sides, and that's why I was looking at the teleport for Armut to come in on.
That's the Cyclone for nothing?
Yeah, I was looking, I was like, are we fighting up here? What's going on? Armut just pops that one, and now the teleport difference will feel a little bit less bad for the Mad Lions. Orome, even with that early death, is doing well in terms of the overall farm department. Went for the very quick armor route, so we'll struggle if Kakao ever visits top lane, but if he doesn't, here we go.
Snowflower's going to get knocked back with the devastating charge. There's the quickness. Snowflower flashes out of the knockup, though. The tenacity from the Mercury Treads actually saving his life.
It's a big purchase there. There's a lot of CC too from the Mad Lions. Here's Kakao. Can he find the spear? It's not quite gonna connect. And Humanoid just starting to take control over this middle lane. Balulu is taking a lot of poke, being forced under the tower continually, and this is allowing Mad Lions to now look for a fight.
Solar Flare coming down. Shadow, of course, doesn't have Flash, doesn't have Ghost, doesn't have his ult, but he can knock Snowflower back. Dawning Shadow used. Humanoid looking for the Paddle Star. Shadow takes the spear to the back. Here's Armut. flashes forward and swings down the hammer. Another kill to the Wukong.
Yeah, now Cacao is going to move that straight down into the Infernal Drake on top. So Supermassive, twice in a row now, Cacao has been able to convert a singular kill into a nice objective for the squad. And while the gold remains even, Supermassive are stacking those up.
Humanoid steals away the smite. Zenith bladed on. Humanoid gets Ignite now as Cacao goes low. Kaiser trying to join, but here's the TP from Balulu. Just needs to shuffle his way in. Humanoid almost takes down Cacao, but Balulu is there. Supermassive really swinging hard at the start of this game.
Yeah, all right, I spoke a little too soon. It wasn't the Drake, but it was a kill onto Humanoid. Humanoid, we know he likes to get aggressive. He's a very, very cocky player. If he sees an opening, he's going to try to take it, but it was a little bit too much.
And although Mad do still have a small gold lead, you have to remember the Rift Herald is still sitting in Cacao's inventory. You've got a minute and a half before the plates fall, and then probably about 30 seconds before he has to place it. So that's going to be some more gold for Supermassive. Also, getting these kills onto Balulu when he fell behind in lane allows him to get towards that Nash's Tooth. Looks like he actually might be going for Ludens first on the Azir here. And Armuth is in such a strong position as well. 3 plates taken in that top lane. Well, gonna get 5 as the Rift Herald comes down.
It's gonna be a little bit more than that. Really good play coming through from Supermassive. And Orome, as one person, you cannot hope to clear this quickly enough. That is a one-hit kill there. Gold shared between Armut and Cacao. And Mad Lions with, Shadow pathing towards topside. Carzzy and Kaiser doing the same. They've now had to convert out of that play, The tower goes down, they can't find a move, so they can't even trade for any plates on the bottom side of the map. That's a big win for Supermassive.
And now that they've taken that first tower, they will just look to move Armut down into this bottom side jungle. The Cyclone engage with the Nimbus Strike can be so powerful, especially when you follow it up with the Solar Flare. Kaiser trying to get some vision around this dragon, but it's denied by Control Ward behind the pit.
All right, feels like we might be looking at a team fight very, very soon. So let's go down into what these teams need to accomplish. Mad Lions need to use Orome's ultimate to remove some of the frontliners. Probably an Armut from the fight allows Shadow and Kaiser to dive into the backside. They're stuck in the pit. Nope, they're not going to make the call. Orome's going to go back towards topside. But that's the idea. Again, Orome, even, after Armut's gotten a lot of kills, well, remove him from the fights, and it's going to be a lot better. And the hard engage can try to shut down this Nidalee Senna.
Shadow was super low on mana there, which is why I think they decided not to fight it. He probably had enough to an onslaught of Shadows, and that was about it. But here comes the quickness, and Shadow's actually coming back for the fight. They're going to knock Snowflower back. And with no flash, even with the Solar Flare, Dawning Shadow combination, I'm not sure
it's enough. The heal
comes out. Cacao joins the fight. It's a 1-for-1 in the bottom lane as Cacao's now going to land the spear onto Kaiser.
He wants
Grand entrance used to exit as Mad Lions able to retreat. But Balulu still has flash in the mid lane, and the ward on Orome will mean that Balulu can just back away.
What looked like such a clean, easy gank for Mad Lions turns into a 1-for-1 because not just the Senna, but the Nidalee on top. They kept Snowflower alive for so long, and this is something that will be a problem for Mad Lions. Right now, the only source of healing reduction is going to be that Bramble Vest, and Orome is nowhere near the bot lane for a while.
It's 1,000 gold lane now developed for Supermassive. Paddlestar's going to come out here, Cacao. It's a lot of HP lost from a single Paddlestar, but as you say, you can just heal it straight back up.
That's almost a bit of the strange thing about picking the Zoe into the Nidalee is that she can heal up a lot of the damage that Zoe does, and even you can line up your spear, so every time Zoe goes for a QR combo, well, you know exactly where she's snapping back to, so Nidalee spears are fair game, Solar Flare exactly from that Leona, all going to be on the table, and Humanoid has to be mindful of that as we move forward.
Even things like Dawning Shadow, like just being able to line it up and you know whereabouts at least that Zoe's going to land. Of course, the cast time on the Dawning Shadow is a little bit longer than the portal jump. Watch out, Eep Carzzy. He's able just to ambush his way to safety.
Yeah, Solar Flare was just a second off there before it came back off of cooldown for Snowflower, so they don't press too far forward on that one. Carzzy likely only would have lost the flash, but would have been a big cooldown, because that would still be down before the Mountain Drake spawned. Although, this is a weird game, because we only have one dragon taken at 16 minutes, so things are definitely a little bit slower, and the team fights around dragon aren't going to feel as important.
Right, at least not for the next 10 minutes or so. You can see Armut here funneled in a lot of gold early on, all those plates helping him out, about 700 gold ahead. Cacao as well, doing an incredible job, farming up as he's 400 gold ahead of Shadow. A
fun little thing on the Herald, I believe the eye opens quicker, the more auto attacks it takes. So the clone from Armut helping out on that one. Not only positioned for the eye, but yeah, pop it open. There you go. Quick take there from SuperMassive. Kakao's going to be one to pick that up. I think that's the right decision in this one. I mean, Baloo's had a lot of pressure thrown his way in mid lane, but has stabilized in CS, and they can use that. But Mad Lions, they want to make an attack. No one's top lane. Arome's in mid, and they're all coming down to bot.
But Zeitnot and Snowflower are like, nah, we want none of this. They were already between their tier 1, tier 2s before anyone even started roaming down. They're like, we're not on the strong side of the map. Don't need to be anywhere near this. We don't know where Arome is. They just back away. They give up the turret. Don't lose any lives for it.
It's solid map play from both teams. Mad Lions did what they need to get the bot tower, but this Herald, of course, spins things up in mid lane. That should be able to knock down the turret.
Arome's trying to fight against Armut. Does have a level advantage as Armut goes in with a Cyclone. Arome, ooh, whoa, he's just dead before he can really do too much. Kakao gets the assist on the kill. Humanoid's able to save the tower.
Look at this, though. Mad Lions are underneath, and Zeitnot is not here, so they could force on Balulu.
Kazi looking for it. There's the quickness, but Balulu flashes away. The Dawning Shadow coming out. He's being put to sleep. Balulu falls, but Shadow's short to follow. You have to feel. Snowflower gets the kill. SuperMassive take a loss, but also managed to get a kill of their owners. They killed Shadow.
If you doubted the Rakan Twitch combo, that is the proof of concept right there. Humanoid caught out, though.
There's the solar flare. Humanoid has been locked in place. Kaiser's going to try and come in. Humanoid steals away a flash and is able to survive for the moment. Kazi now opening up his armor, comes in from the side. No Cyclone for him. Snowflower now on the wrong side of the rift, but he's going to be able to flash away as well, and he's healed
Teleport
up to
in.
almost full. The TP comes in from Arome, doesn't have the Realm of Death. Will have the Death's Grasp, doesn't quite hit Zeitnot as he steps to the side. Mad Lions feels a little bit like they're overforcing and they'll back away.
Yeah, very, very close right there. Both teams just playing around for a little bit, seeing if they could find an opening. But Humanoid on that Zoe able to pick up a few too many flashes for SuperMassive to be able to shut it down. This is how the play starts again. It's Armut plus Kakao finding Arome. This has been a problem for Mad Lions that continues with Armut having a bit of a day on this one here, but this is the combination onto Balulu. Watch how Kaiser plays this. He's gonna hop forward to Karzi, who's invisible, so Balulu does not see the salt, and then flashes. Doesn't get knocked up or anything like that. Gets the instant charm into the kill. The Shadow, of course, trades his life.
Yep. And it is just a little bit tricky for Mad Lions, because you can find that initial engage, but the healing and the sustain coming out from SuperMassive, if they keep a couple of players alive, makes it so difficult for you to actually win out on a team fight in the long run. Second dragon of the game is up. It's a mounted solar flare available for Snowflower in about 10 seconds time. In fact, it's just come off cooldown. Mad Lions gonna keep this dragon ticking over. Humanoid looking for the sleep, lands it onto Balulu. Snowflower goes forward, but misses.
Look at Armut!
But here is Armut. Cyclone onto the back line, and immediately Kaiser tries to defend Kazi. Armut now stepping forward in the Death Realm. He's trading against Arome. The dragon goes down and is taken by the Mad Lions. Humanoid off towards the top side, getting chased away. Balulu flashes forward, actually just jumps in with the Emperor's Divide, and SuperMassive will get a kill for the dragon.
Yeah, that should be the mid tower as well. You can see SuperMassive, very clear comms, cautiously playing out that team fight. They don't want to overcommit. They want to make use over their heals, and they say, fine, we'll give you the Drake. We'll take that mid lane tower. A very good look for them.
It really is. Balulu actually going Nash's Tooth instead of the Ludens, just gives him that extra DPS across the course of the fight. And SuperMassive now 2,000 gold ahead, and in a very strong position. Cull almost stacked up on Zeitnot as he's got the Manamune on its way as well. I like the executioners actually on the center. I think it just gives you that little bit extra against the healing that can come out from a Mordekaiser with Conqueror, from the W,
Twitch even?
from the Twitch, from the W, from the Hecarim as well. Has so much healing when he gets in the middle of a bunch of other players. And it just reduces the amount that the sustain from Mad
For
Lions.
sure, definitely. And that's something that SuperMassive have going for themselves too. Like, Mad Lions got to find some way to cut through that healing, because I mean, we checked in 10 minutes ago. It was just the Bramble Vest, still just the Bramble Vest. And if you're trying to find W healing over on the side of Mad Lions, well, there's an E healing on Nidalee, right? There's a Q healing on Senna. Like, that is a lot that SuperMassive have going for them.
Yeah, it really is, and I'd love to see an Executioner's calling for Kazi. Now that he's got the Rune Ends and the Blade of the Ruin King, he's kind of like there. Although you could argue Infinity Edge's core on the Twitch as well when you get towards some of these team fights. At the moment, Balulu's off towards the top lane. Does have the TP, as Mad Lions look for a little bit of an engage in the mid. Can't find it. And have to give credit to SuperMassive. They've just been playing this one out super patiently. Haven't always been looking for fights, haven't always been looking for kills, but they are 3,000 gold ahead. As Humanoid jumps in, almost kills Zeitnot, but Snowflower's going to chase him. There's the Dawning Shadow. That's exactly what we said. The portal jump can spell your demise. As Arome tries to trade it onto Armut. Death Realm is available, but there's the Emperor's Divide, and Kazi is chucked back into the midst of 5 members of SuperMassive. He's gone. Rome's next on the menu. SuperMassive are just wiping Mad Lions.
SuperMassive just destroy them right there. Snowflower waiting over the wall. Humanoid does a lot of damage, but not that much damage, and Snowflower absolutely punished him. That's going to be the Baron on top, unless Shadow can steal.
Shadow, he's got no flash, he's got no onslaught of shadows, there's no way for him to get in this pit. In fact, at the moment, he's got no smite ender, it's still on a cooldown. Supermassive gonna get the first bound of the game, 22 minutes in. And we wondered whether the TCL representatives would be able to fight for the top spot in this group. Well, they are making a statement with this game.
They are. They really, really are. And you see it again. This is the problem with the Zoe. It's a style pick, but that R immediately sends you back to the same place. Snowflower punishes it so massively. Now watch Balulu here. He's going to find Karzi. Whoop! Come on back, buddy. And he instantly falls.
It's just nothing you can do there as the Twitch. Great engage from Snowflower on the Leona, the Zenith Blade chase into Balulu, just following up with the Emperor's Divide, and now Mad Lions very much rocked back on their haunches.
Oh.
Sleep from Humanoid. Cacao, but like, half the damage you just did has been healed up in a moment. Karzi's going to look for the ambush, but Snowflower is here to protect and delay Mad Lions from finding the engage they're looking for. And now in goes Snowflower, the Solar Flare coming out. There's the Cyclone, the Wombo combo from Supermassive is exactly that. 2 quick kills and a third to follow. Supermassive are showing up.
Armoot and Snowflower are nasty, and they do not give up. Balulu knocks down Shadow underneath the tower. This might just break Mad Lions.
I mean, it might just be game. Let's be honest. They haven't got the minion wave. That's the only thing I can see that could delay them, because this inhibitor tower is going to have all those extra resistances. 20 seconds still on Humanoid, 24 on Shadow, 20 on Arome. This is going to at least break the base of the Mad Lions. And Supermassive, well, they're really putting a name for themselves in this group, and you wonder, next up we see Team Liquid versus Legacy. Is it going to be Team Liquid versus Supermassive in a couple of days' time, fighting for the top spot in this group?
This group, I mean, both our groups are exciting. I feel like these games are not always going the way we expect, but look at that setup from Snowflower. Armoot comes in to steal the glory, and his Cyclone is massive, but Snowflower with the setup, yet again, he was the one that found Humanoid in the previous fight, and he gets him here too.
I just think the quality of players at play-ins this year is pretty next level. Like, we've seen some mistakes, we've seen some people fall down, but also to see teams starting to really challenge the more established regions is great. And it's great to see Supermassive once again back on the world stage. Last time they were here was 2018 when they lost in the play-in knockouts. And here they are making a name for themselves once again.
I'm not convinced Mad Lions have a good answer into them in this one. Like, the Zoe just is not going to be useful up against Supermassive. It really is just a Twitch show, you would imagine, but even then, the damage he deals is getting matched or beaten by Balulu's Azir on the other side of things, who now has a Zhonya. So, like, you have double Zhonyas against the dive for Mad Lions. It feels bad because Shadow has dived into so many of these fights, but he has not been able to get much done with people flashing away, and now Supermassive have everything they need to break the base.
That was cheeky. So Dawning Shadow was used to delay the back of Karzi because they knew where he was, and now that means he can't get back here to defend the inhibitor in time, and Supermassive.
It's going down.
It's those sort of cheeky plays that really define games like this, like the wherewithal, the awareness to do that, to make sure the Twitch can't get back, to break the inhibitor tower, and now to look for that inhibitor itself as well. Armored is on the front line. Mad Lions looking for the flank position, looking to see if they can get onto the back line of Supermassive, but right now, Supermassive are just holding them at arm's length and saying, you can punch all you want. You're not finding your mark. You're not finding the connection. Mad Lions find a good sleep there onto Cacao, but the paddle star isn't there to follow up. Supermassive has, Snowflower has just used the Zenith Blade and didn't quite connect.
Yeah, and Supermassive, they have this turret to fall back on some Mad Lions. They've forced fights hard, but it will not work if you do it running into the Azir and the powerful backline of Supermassive. This inhibitor already down below 50% HP, and Zaynet punches it from a mile away.
It's so easy for the center to step up here. Armored on the front line. Death's Grasp not going to pull him back. That's the clone. Snowflower down to about half HP, but that's 2 inhibitors down. Supermassive, a 10,000 gold lead. at
and just exploded.
26 minutes. Like, they have just taken everything away from Mad Lions.
Yeah, I mean, they just won so many fights in a row, and we saw, like, in draft, we saw the Zoe come in. It changed the options Mad Lions had in the game, but when there's a Nidalee and a Senna on the other side, the healing just makes your champion pretty much irrelevant, unless you can 100 to 0, and that's not going to happen when you're 0 and 4 and have to itemize into the Void Staff, just the cheapest possible items to get to the next breakpoint.
SuperMassive on the other hand, Nash's Tooth, Zonya's complete on Balulu, Yumu's Muramana stacked up on Zeitnot, Trinity Force, Death's Dance, and a Randuin's on its way for Armored. SuperMassive are just too darn strong for the Mad Lions to deal with.
Yeah, let's just work it up into top lane. Snowflower is in exactly the right place to get the deep vision, maybe knock down a couple of turrets up there, because in a minute we have Baron, and that's how SuperMassive close this game. Mad Lions, if they give that up, you can't really hold the line here against SuperMassive's team. Like, they're just going to break through structure. So teamfight is the best answer for Mad Lions, but even in that, they're horrifically outmatched.
And the question is, like, SuperMassive haven't needed the Baron to do everything, right? Like, they were winning the game before the Baron even came around, so maybe they can just deny any vision around it, look for this tier 2 in the top lane, wait for the supers to push in bot and mid, and then take a fight on their terms. Zeitnot going forward, the Curse of Black Mist, and the tier 2 tower is going to fall before I can even finish this sentence, Endo. It's a surprise to say the least. As
look at this minion wave, it's huge. They've stacked this one up beautifully. Karzi, does he have to use the ult to clear the wave? No, he has his E stacked up, so it will be good. And Kaiser's on the flank, they land the bubble.
Sleep onto Cacao, uses the stopwatch to make sure the Paddle Star can't connect. Snowflower goes forward, Zenith Blade misses, there's the Solar Flare as well, and perhaps it's the chance for Mad Lions. The quickness comes out, Snowflower almost down, but you just don't have the damage. And now, even with the Sleep landing onto the Lulu and the devastating charge down, so the Shadows goes onto the back line, this is the only opportunity that's going to happen. You can see they're just getting ripped to shreds. They are being torn apart by SuperMassive. Kazi is next on the menu. Humanoid's already dead. And SuperMassive, with 3 players left alive, are TPing into the base. The Death's Grasp is going to stop Armored, but it is little solace for Mad Lions. SuperMassive with a commanding performance, with a devastating performance, with a demolition of the Mad Lions.
Yeah, Armu just chasing down Rome for the final icing on the cake here. SuperMassive played a great game. Snowflower time and time again finding those engagements and building up a huge lead over the Mad Lions. SuperMassive are going to remain undefeated at Worlds.
And what a strong performance it was from them. You know, Mad Lions, they had a few punches, they had a few moments where they fought back, but SuperMassive were just always ready for them. They always defended in the right place, attacked in the right place. It was a team that was coordinated and on the same page, which is something we haven't seen from every team here in playoff.
Yeah, and I mean, they've had standout players too, like people that look like they can compete at a very high level. Armut, this is his second game now where he's looking very, very good. The way Snowflower completely abused Humanoid, who just gave his team such a large advantage, because this game was not a blowout for the whole time. You know, the laning phase was very even. It was just finding Humanoid 2-3 times in a row that snowballed into so much more for this team and into an undeniable win.
Just exploded. Exploded from nowhere. One moment you looked, it was 2,000. Next, it was 10. And you feel like SuperMassive is sending a statement to everyone else in this group. They're looking at Team Liquid and saying, hey, yeah, you can beat you can beat Mad Lions. We can do that too. Let's see which one of us gets that top spot and goes straight into groups. It's going to be a good one to be sure, but when we return, it's time for our final game of the day, Team Liquid versus Legacy. Don't go anywhere.